Observe the cycle of this consumer product. It never reaches a final form, shifting its physical shape to represent a process of rapid, continuous iteration. Across modern commerce, enterprises frequently highlight the novelty of their merchandise. They rely on the promise of freshness to capture the attention of potential consumers. This strategy serves as a primary survival mechanism in saturated markets. When multiple brands offer the same basic utility, constant evolution becomes a key method for a company to distinguish itself from competitors. While this approach can secure short-term sales through competitive differentiation, it creates a tension between immediate corporate gain and long-term costs. This relentless focus on newness encourages a culture of wasteful consumerism, pressuring individuals to replace items based on their age rather than their function. From this perspective, what appears to be a sequence of aesthetic or technological innovations can be viewed as a development that masks systemic detriments. This scale illustrates the trade-off. While novelty drives short-term sales, it triggers externalities like environmental harm and compromised durability. The pressure to stay current accelerates resource depletion, and simultaneously, product durability drops as engineering focus shifts away from long-term quality. We can categorize these hidden impacts as macroscopic externalities, costs generated by a market transaction that are not reflected in the product's price tag. This explains why the trend matters. The immediate, quantifiable gain for a business is often outweighed by the compounded, unmeasured costs to the global environment and the consumer's wallet. To find the root of this trend, we must look at the state of modern industry. Most markets are heavily flooded with nearly identical options. For a corporation, the standard response to this overcrowding is competitive differentiation. A factory produces identical utility cubes, but in a saturated market, they hit a barrier. Basic utility isn't enough. Companies bypass this by adding unique, minor upgrades, allowing the product to clear the barrier and capture public attention. Tech firms frequently employ this tactic, framing minor software tweaks as major breakthroughs in their marketing campaigns. These small changes are designed to make the latest gadgets stand out, triggering a sense of excitement in the consumer. This creates a sharp contrast with the older models remaining on the shelf, which may be functionally identical but are perceived as obsolete. Consequently, market saturation shifts corporate strategy away from structural innovation and toward the production of optical updates. This strategy is effective because it leverages the natural human attraction to new experiences and social status. Advertisers use a method called psychological triggering to connect a product with these internal desires. Here, the purchasing impulse bypasses logical need and connects directly to social status. The buy is driven by emotion, framed as a requirement for a modern lifestyle. This exploitation of status-seeking behavior is most visible in the consumer electronics and fashion industries. Clothing brands, for example, release new seasonal collections to make shoppers feel that their current wardrobe is outdated, regardless of the condition of their clothes. By engineering an emotional impulse to buy, novelty marketing successfully prioritizes status over rational utility. When marketing convinces people that functional possessions are outdated, it creates a condition of artificial obsolescence. This psychological pressure leads consumers to prematurely replace items that are still in perfect working order. The direct result is a significant accumulation of unnecessary waste. To sustain this cycle, manufacturers continuously extract raw materials. This rapid depletion of natural resources is required to produce goods with increasingly short lifespans. Take the annual cycle of mobile phone releases, where millions are discarded yearly. The primary motivation for this discard is simply the desire to own the newest release. This diagram tracks the outcome. The loop of manufacture and disposal creates a rising chart of electronic waste, contributing to macroscopic pollution. The pressure to update functional goods fuels a cyclical engine of environmental degradation. To maintain a constant stream of new products, manufacturers have shifted their focus from long-term quality to rapid production cycles. This shift results in structural degradation, a reduction in the build quality of goods as speed becomes the priority. When novelty is the main selling point, rigorous testing and structural durability are often deprioritized to meet tight release deadlines. This timeline compares two manufacturing philosophies. The older appliance uses thick structural lines for longevity. The modern version relies on delicate internal components, often marketed as advanced technology. Over time, the modern unit fractures and breaks down significantly faster. This creates a financial trap, where consumers spend substantial amounts of money on goods that require frequent replacement. In a novelty-driven market, structural degradation becomes a feature of the manufacturing process, ensuring that the consumer must return to the market sooner. The emphasis on product novelty is a calculated mechanism used by corporations to stand out in crowded industries. This strategy explicitly targets the human desire for status to drive purchasing behavior. This equation summarizes the trade-off. A focus on novelty generates short-term revenue, but it results in both environmental degradation and reduced product durability. The commercial benefits for the business are countered by the environmental harm caused by overconsumption. Based on current manufacturing trends, the durability of many consumer goods has been significantly compromised in favor of speed. As a result, genuine structural innovation has largely been replaced by continuous, superficial iteration. So long as novelty remains the primary driver of the market, both the environment and the rational consumer will continue to bear the costs. Understanding the mechanics behind modern marketing requires a strong analytical foundation. That's where the IELTS FOCUS can help. They specialize in language and academic preparation, providing the skills needed for deep research and critical analysis. Contact the IELTS FOCUS to begin your preparation. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next episode as we continue to investigate the forces shaping our world.